Hello everybody. For my first Prezi, I'm going to summarize an article I linked to on the Digo account. It's entitled The Art and Science of Teaching, Teaching with Interactive Whiteboards. So this article highlights a study that was performed by Marzano and Haystead. It's entitled The Final Report on the Evaluation of Promethean Technology. And Promethean is a company that makes smartboard technologies. It included 85 teachers in 170 classrooms. The classrooms were randomly selected to have an interactive whiteboard intervention or not have an interactive whiteboard intervention. And what the study showed was that classes taught with the interactive whiteboard showed a 16% increase in achievement compared to classes without interactive whiteboards. So even though interactive whiteboards intuitively would help with achievement and comprehension of students, it's good to have studies like this, especially recent studies, that show that it actually does from an empirical and scientific perspective. Not only does it show that on average the increase was 16%, it highlights some of the more effective methods for the use of the interactive whiteboards. So it showed that the use of handheld voting devices increased achievement 26%, which kind of makes sense because it has the students being more engaged in the questioning and the lesson plan. It shows that visuals used to represent content information correlated again with a 26% increase in achievement, which again makes sense because many of us are visual learners, and many of the information and content being taught is visual by nature. And it also showed that reinforcers such as virtual applause or dragging answers onto a specific location indicating they're correct also showed a large increase in achievement, in this case 31%. Now interestingly, 23% of the classes using the interactive whiteboard technology showed worse scores than their non-interactive whiteboard classrooms. So why is this? Well, the authors looked at the classrooms, they had tapes, and they went over them, and they showed that they shared certain common characteristics on average. One, they used voting devices but did little with the information. So instead of engaging the students as to why certain answers are correct or why they're not correct, or using reinforcers, they just said they're correct or non-correct and did little with the information. They ran through the content too quickly, so they made their flip chart or their presentation on the smartboard, but they added too much information to it and ended up running through it too quickly. And this is especially problematic because much of the information and content on the smartboard is different than classic uses of standard chalkboard or whiteboard technology. So you have visuals, you have audios, interactive applications, and it's a lot for students to process. So if you go through it too quickly, they're not going to comprehend it as well. Too many visuals, a lot of them overloaded their presentations with visuals, which was distracting to many of the students, and they couldn't really figure out what was most important content and what was just added there for aesthetic value. And many of them used reinforcers too much, so there was constant applause or constant dragging, but there wasn't really a discussion of why they're correct or incorrect, which is just like the first point, and students were just trying to get the machine to applaud or student to add the virtual applause as opposed to thinking about why they were correct or incorrect. So the article has some suggestions for how to use whiteboards effectively. Pace the lessons to accommodate the new forms of content being added to your lesson. So I said that in the previous slide. Limit visuals to those that are relevant. Discuss why response answers are correct and incorrect. And be sure your students are not distracted by virtual reinforcers such as applause. So this is just one study done, but I think it does highlight some of the most effective means of using the interactive whiteboard and some of the most ineffective means of using it, and hopefully more studies like this will be done in the future. Thanks.